Welcome back to Clark's Ring Rants. Let's get straight into today's video. I tell you what, it's all kicking off in the last few weeks. Frank Warren is not a happy bunny and he looks set to sue Turki. Well, at least try and sue him. Good luck with that, Frank. Not sure how that's going to go. But he looks like he's going to have a go at suing Turki, SELA, Zuffa, TKO, you name it. Everyone's getting it. 1 billion Frank wants from them in lost earnings. Let's talk about it. Now, as we all know, Frank Warren is the GOAT, TBE, one of the best to ever do it when it comes to courtroom, settlements and legal disputes within boxing, and he looks set to dust off his gloves, lace them up and go at it one last time at the age of 73 with Turki. Now, according to the Telegraph, according to Frank Warren, according to Queensberry, a lot of accordings there, they are claiming that SELA and TKO breached separate contracts they had signed with him and formed Zuffa Boxing without his involvement. TKO, as we know, are aiming to take over the sport. They're looking to marginalise promoters like Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman, Bob Arum, Ben Shalom, flipping Mick Hennessy, whoever, you name it. They're looking to marginalise them, get them out of the way, nick all the fighters and centralise boxing. A similar model to what they've got in the UFC. Now, it all seemed good at first. The relationship seemed all rosy. Cast your mind back to 2022, 2023. There were a lot of fights we just couldn't get, because of the money. Tyson Fury didn't really want to fight Alexander Usyk until he got offered a ridiculous amount of money. Even he couldn't justify turning down. That was when the Saudis became involved. They sweetened us up in 2023. We had the Day of Reckoning card. We had the 5v5. We had the Last Crescendo. We had the Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua card. We had so many good cards in a short space of time. And as good as it was, a lot of people said this wasn't going to be sustainable. And that has proven to be the case. We haven't really had one of those mega cards since the Last Crescendo, I think, which was just over a year ago. Since then, Turkey's tightened the purse strings, which was inevitable. They couldn't keep spending that much money on boxing forever. And he's sort of pivoted in a different direction now. He's gone with Dana White, he's gone with SELA, they've got the Zuffa boxing venture, and Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, they're back to square one. Without the money that was being put up by Turki, there's just certain fights they can't make. And like I say, certain fights we've been lucky enough to get in the last few years wouldn't have happened without Saudi involvement. And now we're seeing the effects of boxing after the Saudi money. A lot of fighters are just sitting it out now because they're thinking, well, the Saudis wanted to pay me X amount for this fight. Why would I take that fight as a main event back in England for a third of the price? And it's having a knock-on effect in boxing. As good as it was, we got all those amazing cards. I was loving it. We were getting really, really good fights. It just wasn't sustainable. And I think we're going to see a real drop-off in level of cards. And fighters are going to have to be more realistic now. What can I earn? What's realistic? Anyway, what British boxing does post-Turkey money, that's a whole story for another video. So let's get back to Frank Warren and who he's looking to sue and what he's looking to sue them for. According to Queensberry, back in 2023, they reckon they signed an exclusive agreement with SELA to provide boxing services, which saw the company, Queensberry, give SELA access to Queensberry's expertise as the pair looked to stage big-time fights. The first of these, as you'll famously remember, was Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, where he was dropped and very, very lucky in some people's eyes to get the decision. Queensberry are also claiming it signed a contract with TKO, where TKO was allowed to access to Queensberry's contract with SELA via its online data. It's been argued that TKO and SELA, with the benefit of privileged information, went behind Frank Warren's back, I'd never recommend doing that, into a 5-year deal with each other, and in the process breached their individual agreements with the promoter. Queensberry is reportedly seeking $1 billion for lost income, which the company argues that it would have made from these dealings. Frank Warren and Queensberry plan to take this all the way to the High Court. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Frank Warren's had enough. He's sticking it on the Saudis. They drew him in. They showed him all the love. They honeypotted him. And now look at him. He's been left with his pants round his ankles. He reckons he's 1 billion short. What's he going to do? Is he going to get it back? Does he have the financial might to take on Turki, TKO and SELA in the courtrooms? I really don't know. But I think we're going to see a lot more of this. Turki came in. The Trojan horse was all those big Saudi cards. He hid his real intentions, and now look what he's doing. He's quote unquote going behind the backs of these promoters. He's pinching their fighters. Look at Tyson Fury. His fight with Makhmudov, it's over on Netflix. Frank Warren's got nothing to do with it. He's been sidelined. Eddie Hearn, he's had Conor Benn taken from under his nose. So I think it's fair to say now that the gloves are off. It's open season. Boxing is the Wild West after all, and everything appears to be fair game. There's going to be lawsuits flying left, right and centre. This is definitely not going to be the end of it. Was Frank Warren naive to think Turki was just coming in? He wanted to do business with him. He was going to help grow the sport, and he wasn't going to try and monopolise it for himself. Should Frank Warren have seen that coming? Should he have known better? And is this a warning sign for all the promoters that they need to pitch together to stop these guys taking over boxing, having a complete monopoly on it, and then being rendered pretty much useless? Other than the small hall shows, all the big fights could end up on Zuffa. Interesting times ahead. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Frank Warren versus TKO and SELA in the courtrooms. How do you see this one going? I can't wait for that exclusive interview with Frank Warren, whoever gets it. My word, it's going to be a good one. Don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.